Two dead girls. Two dead girls. Two dead girls.
Hey everybody, it's Jessica and welcome to Two Dead Girls. As you guys may or may not know, my other dead girl, Lisa, had a baby very recently, so she's not with me tonight. I am flying solo and I hope it's okay with you because I have a lot to talk about. A lot of notes in my notebook about the episode last night. So let's just get right into it. But before we get into it, let me warn you, if you have not yet seen The Walking Dead, Season 5, Episode 15, titled Try. Stop. Freeze. Don't watch. Why are you still here? I see you. You're sitting right there watching me right now. So we're just going to get into it. I kind of like to call this episode, this is like the calm before the storm episode. Next week is it. We are done till October. But I will say that I'm not going to be done till October. I'm participating in Veda over at my channel, which you can find the information to down in the description field of this video. And I'm adding an extra A onto Veda. For those of you who don't know what Veda is, it's vlog every day in April. So I'm going to have a vlog every single day in April. But my extra A is for Apocalypse. And everything is going to have to do with either The Walking Dead, or zombies, or a zombie apocalypse. So if you want to come over and check me out, come on over and check me out. But they are done until October, and I'm really very, very happy that next week is going to be an hour-and-a-half episode. I'm hoping they don't see that as just an excuse to jam a lot of commercials in. I found there were a lot of commercials yesterday. So try episode 15. When it opens up, they're in Deanna's house and they're listening to the Run mix. And as they're listening to the Run mix, Carol is in her house fixing a tuna casserole. And the soundtrack, I felt really, it was great because Carol is such a, I don't know, the music sounded really maddening, and it was neat to see Carol, Susie Homemaker, making this tuna casserole while listening to the Run music. And really creepy. Sam just shows up at the window. I was like, oh, what the heck are you doing here? I will say that I don't really have any reactions to show you guys. I have a reaction video on my channel, but my husband was not with me. Last night we had an emergency that he had to stay in Brooklyn until about 4 o'clock in the morning, and so it was really weird. Not only am I just talking to the camera by myself, but I was kind of doing that last night too. Carol very sweetly brings the casserole over to Deanna's house, and Deanna goes and opens the door because there's a knock at the door, and Carol's playing Ring and Run. I think it would have been a lot better for the group. I mean, Carol doesn't know that Gabriel sold them all up the river last week. Well, in the last episode, but I think it would have been a little bit more neighborly to stay and offer your condolences instead of dropping off a pie, a casserole, which I thought was hilarious that she just left on the steps. She's like, I ain't eating your probably poison casserole because you guys want to take my town. So not only does she not take the casserole, but she burns the note of condolence right in the living room. So they are absolutely distraught, as they should be. Their son is gone. And Daryl and Erin are out on a run, and there is someone else. There's someone else. You can see a little bit of a firelight off in the distance. And who is it? Could it be Morgan? Before we go any further, there are two things that I hope they get to in the season finale. There's only two things that I want, other than the fact that I don't want Daryl or any of the, I don't know why I still call them the Atlanta group. I always will. Sorry guys. I know if you're gonna write comments like they're not all from Atlanta, but I call anybody that's on that's on Rick's team. They always fall into the Atlanta group for me. I don't know why, but I need to find out A, where Morgan is, and B, are those actually W's or are they upside down M's, which could maybe stand for Morgan? I have no idea. But I want to find out what they are and who is doing that. So we come back from the commercial break. Nicholas is being videotaped, and of course, as they switch over to Glenn, you feel that it's also Glenn being videotaped as well. Deanna's asking the same questions. She probably wrote out the questions, and Nicholas is answering them his way. Glenn's answering them his way. But no, it turns out that Deanna's taping Nicholas, and Glenn is basically confessing, not confessing because he didn't do anything wrong, but he's talking to Rick about it. And what I really liked was that Deanna was kind of questioning Nicholas, like, what about Tara? How did that work out that they all got back with you? How did this, so I was kind of feeling a little bit that Deanna may not have been believing Nicholas. Nicholas is an asshole. Of course, he's lying about everything. He's basically saying that Glenn, that her son was trying to save them, and Glenn distracted him, and this is the reason that he's dead. And yeah, Nicholas is a jerk, and he needs to go. So I have a feeling that he's going to go because he's going to chase somebody outside of the walls, probably Rick, and that's going to get him killed, just like what Glenn said later on in the episode when he says, "Are you threatening me?" "No, I'm saving you. You're not going out of these walls. Alone or with anybody, you're not leaving these walls. Because people like you are supposed to be dead. If this place did not exist, you wouldn't be here." And that's the truth. And we all know that that's the truth. I love that Glenn said Noah believed in this place. We have to make it work. Like this, what happened cannot destroy us. And they still don't even know. Like, is Maggie, we didn't see Maggie this episode, is Maggie going to confess to Glenn, like, you need to do some serious recon? Because I overheard Gabriel basically saying that you are the devil. Like, we are the devil. We bring bad stuff with us. Carol and Rick are talking, and Carol was speaking to Sam. Sam has a special safety closet that he goes into, and he locks himself in because Pete, his dad, is beating the crap out of him. Sam saw a really bad fight between him and Jesse, and Jesse, his mom, was unconscious. So that's why Sam wanted a gun in the last episode. And, why does Carol care so much about Jesse? Obviously, because at one point she was Jesse. And I hated the fact that she said that if Walkers didn't take Ed, she wouldn't be here. When Rick said that's the furthest thing from the truth, it really is the furthest thing from the truth. Because if Walkers didn't take Ed, Shane probably would have given a beating more severe the next time he put his hands on Carol. I still think about that Shane and Ed beating. His face looked like a ugly tomato. It was terrible. And Carol, I haven't not yet seen her come around to Sam. I mean, she did shelter him towards the end when his father was getting his butt kicked by Rick. But I would like to see if she's a little more nurturing and a little more mothering and understanding now at this point, because she was kind of real crass with him and real snippy with him. Scare tactics that she was using in the past episodes. And, so Rick goes for a little walk, and he's standing at the pond and he's looking out. I was expecting something to jump out. I was expecting somebody to come out and bite him. But no, Pete walks on up behind him, and Rick has his hand on his gun. He's just ready. He wants to do it now, and he doesn't want to think about it. There's no counsel anymore. He can make these decisions, and he was going to make the decision to kill him, and Rick just told him, keep walking. You have to keep walking. And he does. So we come back from the commercial break. This is basically what we saw in the preview. We saw Michonne looking at her laundry basket, and I kind of think she's kind of starting to get that caged animal feeling that I think everybody else is eventually going to get. It's like vacay is over. Like when you're on vacation, it's always so nice, but once you start getting to the end of your vacation, you just can't wait to come home into your own bed. Like you look so forward to escaping your regular life and what you do every single day. but then when you do something different for too long, it just doesn't feel natural anymore. And I kind of feel like that's where everybody is right now. Michonne's looking at her clothes. Rosita comes in. Tara's stabilized, which is really, really great. But where the hell is Sasha? Sasha hasn't come back since her watch in the tower. And Rosita and Michonne are in the woods. Michonne said, you know, after Noah died, she felt like she was asleep in there. Michonne was saying that she felt like she was asleep in there. Like this is just a clouded dream. She's not herself. I don't even think that Michonne was this Michonne before the apocalypse broke out. You know, I could see Maggie helping a senator. I could see Abe working on a construction crew. I could see, who else do we have? I could see Carol taking care of elderly people. But I do not see Michonne as somebody that would have the job that was given to her. And I mean, Rick, well, obviously because he was a cop, that's the only reason that he has become the constable. But no, I just don't think that the job that they picked for Michonne really works. I don't know. So we find out that Deanna knows full well about Pete and his wife-beating history. She was hoping that this would stop. So not only does she know about it, but she's spoken to him about it. There have been issues about this, you know, and Rick says there's only one way that this is going to work. If he doesn't listen, if he doesn't stop, we will kill him. I will kill him. And she does not believe in executing. She believes in exiling people. You need to let people go. And Rick knows full well when you don't sign on the dotted line, when you don't finish the deal, people come back to haunt you and like eat your body parts. Gareth and the people from Terminus. He wanted to go back. Everybody said, no, no, no. Rick's not having that anymore. He wants things to be done when he says they need to be done. That way we don't have to deal with it again in the future. But no, she says that she wants to exile him. Well, she doesn't say that she wants to exile him. If it comes down to it, that's what she would do. She wouldn't kill Rick. She would exile him. She would just make him go away. She would make him take a nice walk. But the only problem is that your little surgeon friend doesn't have a leg to stand on. So you might as well shoot him and do the humane thing and put him down, because you're going to let Rick go. Rick's going to be just fine. Carl and Enid are in the woods, and I kind of like them. Their little flirty thing happening, you know, you have to go back, you scare me. It's like, what's so scary about Carl? Just because my dad's batshit crazy. I'm perfectly sane. And he's asking her what she does out here. Same thing as you do. It's just her little way to escape. And she likes to run. And, you know, she doesn't get to do that anymore. When we come back from the break, they're still in the woods. And I love that she threw the timer to set to throw the walker off so they could have a little bit more alone time. And after that happens, Glenn confronts Nicholas, and he basically says, you're not going to say a word, just listen to what I have to say. Those five people are on you. But I'm wondering why he's not putting Deanna's son on him as well, because we have the 4 people that we lost, right, on the previous run that he was talking about, and we have Noah, and that's 5. What about her son? Glenn is taking responsibility for that, which I kind of think is bullshit. I mean, it wasn't anything that he purposefully did. Nicholas purposefully, you know, sacrificed Noah to save his own ass. Nicholas purposefully sacrificed 4 other people to save him and his friend. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. That is the motto of Alexandria. And that's when he says, are you threatening me? No, I'm saving you. I'm saving you. I'm giving you a real good dose of reality here. If you leave these walls, people like you don't survive out there. People like you don't survive out there. You've cleaned out a nice little perimeter. There aren't that many walkers out there. You wouldn't stand a chance in the real world. You wouldn't stand a chance outside these walls. And I hope he gets outside those walls. I hope he gets outside those walls, because that's one guy that I want to go. So Enid doesn't want to forget, you know, what's outside of those walls. That's probably why she comes out into the forest. And Carl will never forget being in the forest. Jesse's son Ron doesn't know that she comes out here. And Carl compliments her on her knife, which turns out to be her mother's. And he wants to know what happens to her. And then Enid says something very prolific. It's their world. We just live in it. You know, and I say that, I'm not comparing my son to a zombie, but I say that to him all the time. Like, if he's having a temper tantrum, like, it's your world. I just live in it. But I thought, very prolific, Enid. Very, very prolific. It is their world. You know. And this is the dumbest idea that I've ever seen anybody have. Let's hide in a hollow tree. It's very nice for the kissy smoochy, you know, you're scared of me too. They should have held hands. And I don't know if you guys watch Disney, all I kept hearing in the back of my head was Sebastian from The Little Mermaid going, "Kiss the girl." So Nicholas unburies a gun, so he's not the only weapon hoarder in Alexandria. They're in the woods. We get back to Sasha and Rosita and Michonne, and Sasha is shooting. She's sick of playing defense. There's a huge shootout, and Michonne really starts flashing back. And she flashes back, way back to her pets, which I thought was really interesting. And you kind of saw like a mini evolution of where she is, and, you know, she does look really weird without the katana. We all said it in the beginning of the season when they got to the church before they found her katana. She looks weird holding a gun. And we know it's not her weapon of choice, but becoming constable, like Rosita said, you don't have your katana, and that kind of says a lot about you, that she just left it up there. She left who she is in that house. She left her katana in that house, and she's got this alter ego now. And I don't really think that I like it. You know, and Sasha keeps telling her, "I got this," and she basically says that she doesn't want her help. Like, "I don't want your help. I have this." And she's like, "I'm not doing this for you," because as she's flashing back, I kind of feel like she maybe has a moment of clarity. I don't want to get rusty. So it's not just for Sasha. It's not to help her. It's maybe so she doesn't lose her edge. And I kind of think that maybe everybody should. I mean, hey, they're free to come and go as they please. They could check out weapons like books at a friggin' library. Go take a gun out and go do some shooting. Go walk through the woods if you feel comfortable enough. If you don't come back, it's on you. You know, nobody has to go out in groups. If you don't want to lose your edge, if you don't want to lose the practice, go out into the elements and don't lose your edge. Come back. Daryl and Aiden come upon a dismembered body. Parts were taken, just like the torsos that we found in the trunk. So we know, we've all heard about the wolves. We all know that there's a possibility of the wolves, W's. But these people tied a live girl, and they came upon her really freshly because she hadn't even turned yet. They tied a live girl to a friggin' tree and let them have at her. And she was basically eaten alive because just as Daryl lifts her head to find yet another W, she comes to, and Daryl puts her out really quickly. Rick's over at Jesse's now at this point, and Pete has to stop hitting her. She's saying he can change. He did it once before. Rick's basically like, "I don't give a shit. He needs to stop now." She thinks that she can fix it. And Jesse keeps pushing him away, and she's asking Rick, why do you want to help me so badly? You have a place now. You have a safe haven for your kids. Why would you even want to risk this for me? Yes, Rick. Why would you want to risk this for her? That's what I'm, I understand Jessie's a really pretty girl. She really needs artistic. She has tattoos. Chicks with tattoos are hot. I understand. But she's right. Like, what does she have? Like, you know, she wearing some kind of like homemade pheromone perfume that only Rick can smell? What is going on here? You have a home and chocolate and someone's going to make prosciutto soon. Why would you want to go and screw that up? I think that Rick is just looking for a fight because it's just too Mayberry in Alexandria for him. It's just, it's so far away from what he's been used to since all of this happened. So he leaves and he walks away and he can't stay away. And at that moment I said to myself, Pete's in the friggin' house. Pete's in the house. Where's Pete? And she's basically saying, she said to Rick, you know, you have to go, I'm married. And then eventually he does convince her, please let me help you. And she's like, okay. This is probably the first person that ever wanted to help her because you're a beautician, your husband's a surgeon. Do you need appendectomies or do you need layers and like, you know, a pixie cut? Like I can understand. And Pete is there. And Pete hears stuff. And shit goes crazy. And just before we get to the commercial break, Rick fires his ass out the front window. So when we come back from the break, Carol is sheltering Sam. Sam is hiding behind her, but she's not taking him away. She's not moving him like, let's go into the house. You don't need to watch this, honey. She's just merely standing in front of him for protection. I kind of feel like it's good for him to see this. I think it will kind of make him maybe be a little bit more of a voice of reason on Rick's side, as to say like, hey, you know, I like this man because he's protecting me. He's not hurting me like my own father does. Jessie tries to pull Pete off. Now at this point they're in the street and everybody's coming running to see what's happening. And it was like a schoolyard. Everybody's yelling, fight, fight, fight. They weren't chanting fight, fight, fight. I was saying that in my own head, in my own like schoolgirl voice. But Jessie comes and tries to pull Pete off of her and she gets punched in the face. She flies back. I was like, dumb move, asshole, because now Rick has his second wind and that pissed him off even more. I thought he was starting to peter out because peter out. Pete was on top of him and he was choking him and I kind of felt like this is it, Rick's going down. But as soon as he flung back and hit Jessie, I said, that's it, now you really made him mad. Because now he witnessed it for the first time. And he jumps on top of him and then Carl tries to pull him off and then Carl gets knocked back. I'm like, whoa, that's your own kid. And Deanna comes and basically breaks up the whole thing. And Rick is kind of giving her a little bit of a lesson in the world, and he is talking and really just cutting his nose off to spite his face until Michonne comes back and hits the silence button, which was basically punching Rick in the side of the face. And that was the end of our episode this week. I feel like I've been talking for a long time. Like I said, I don't have any reactions to share. I thought it was a good episode. I always think it's neat that we have, if you look back on Walking Dead history, the third to the last episode in season 2 was when Dale died, and then Shane, like the trifecta of the last 3 episodes, usually they like throw the craziest stuff at you and then there's a little bit of a lull and then they come back at you with something even bigger. And we're going to have an hour and a half and I cannot wait to see what happens, because I don't know, are they going to be able to calm Rick down? Because Carl's going to want to stay. I don't think Carl's going to want to go, because now he has a little girlfriend. He's got a little, he's got a group to hang out with. Is Carl going to wind up hating Rick again? I can see Maggie wanting to stay. I could see Glenn, despite everything that happened with Nicholas, wanting to stay. And I would like to know when Maggie is going to, you know, tell everybody about Gabriel. I'll say it again before I end our video. The things that I want to know are, where is Morgan? Where's Morgan? And what do the W's or the upside down M's mean? What is happening with that? But, oh, I have to see if there are any questions. Hang on a second, you guys. All right, so Mandy, we only had one comment. Like, I really wasn't expecting a lot of people to have a lot of comments. I'm glad that Mandy commented. Mandy wrote, good for Michonne shutting up Rick. I think it's time to take over the town. Let's face it, no one's going to exile Rick. Like, I'm trying to weigh the options of who wants to stay and who wants to go. I don't know how many people Rick would have on his side to take over Alexandria. I kind of think that everybody now, with the exception of maybe Sasha, I think everybody's kind of finding their niche. I know, like I said, I know that Carl definitely does not want to leave. I don't know. I don't know. I guess we will find out next week. That is it from me for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave some comments below if you are planning on doing anything apocalyptic for Veda. If you're planning on doing Veda at all, leave a comment. We would love to follow you. But as always, I am Jessica. Lisa sends her love. And this was Two Dead Girls. With just one dead girl. Hopefully next week we'll have our other dead friend back. Bye, guys.